Welcome to the Inside Out Money Podcast.
Can't even recognize this place. Too many pieces of our past mistakes.
Hi, I'm Maggie, and I believe real change starts from the inside out. So let's work together to improve our money and our lives from the inside out. We will explore all things money and our relationship with it. Join me each week with a rotating set of co-hosts, friends, and interviews. Let's jump in.
It's time, we going round and round and round and round.
Hey, Liz.
Hi, Maggie. Hello. You have a big smile on your face today.
Oh, it's because you always give me the hi, Maggie. Hello.
So I'm so
Makes me happy.
excited to see you and record with you. I'm like, oh man, it's my turn. Yes.
I mean, most people in my life are just not that excited to see me, which is why I had a big grin on my face, because you always seem excited to see me, you know?
I always am. Well, what do you want to talk about today?
We are going to talk about the cost of convenience.
Oh, that sounds like a great topic for... Wait, what podcast is this? What are we on?
This is Inside Out. I was going to say for us, which we'll come back to, but yes, welcome to the Inside Out Money Podcast. In case you don't know where you're at, this is a personal finance podcast focused on redefining wealth from the inside out. Every week, I speak with a rotating set of co-hosts about a different financial topic to help you improve your financial mindset and tactics. Today, we've got co-host Liz here, and we are going to discuss the cost of convenience and if it is worth it or not. And I like this topic for us because we're on pretty, not always, we'll see, but I think we're often on different ends of the point of view on if convenience is worth it or not.
Yeah, I think you're really correct. I think you and I have a lot in common and have very similar worldviews on a lot of things, except when it comes to pre-cut fruit.
Except when it comes to convenience stuff.
Yeah, I was looking, we're going to go through a list, and I was looking at the list just a second ago, and I was like, I think we have very different opinions about a lot of this.
And I'm excited to hear. So I know. I was sort of I know your opinions on some of these, but I don't know your opinions on all of these. So per your suggestion, we're going to do this smash or pass style because why not? And if you're not sure what we're talking about, Liz and I have at least two episodes. Do we only have one, or do we have
It's
two
at least
episodes
two. There was one
At
about
least two
financial
smash or pass
rules
episodes.
and one
Yeah.
about...
Something else. I'll put it in the show notes. Let me keep you in suspense. You're gonna have to go check the show notes to see the other Smash or Pass episodes. Basically, it just means it's hit it or quit it. Do we like it or not? Are we willing to pay for the convenience or not? I think ultimately the answer on all of these is it depends, right? Everybody's different. You do you. We're all humans. We all have different. We were all raised differently. I think so much of it is kind of what I think is fascinating about this is so much of how you feel about money related things in life is, it doesn't even matter if it's nature or nurture or where it came from, but it did come from somewhere, right? And we are all so different. And so it's a word I have very strong views about certain things, not even for other people, but just for myself. I mean, where I'm no, I feel very
conditioned.
Yeah, conditioned, but then also I have a lot of conviction about certain things.
Righteous.
Righteous indignation about pre-cut fruit. Yes, exactly.
That's so interesting. I have a running theory in my whole life that everything you do is either because your parents did it that way or because your parents did it that way.
Yeah.
So you're either super tidy because your parents were super tidy, or you're super tidy because your parents had more clutter in their house, and as a reaction you're super tidy.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely one or the other. So. but I also think, to me this is it depends. Everybody's going to be different. I think the goal is to just be thoughtful and intentional, right? So if you've got I've got my reasons and my convictions for why I feel the way I feel, and I feel good about it, and it makes I understand it and I'm thoughtful about it, and I think that's what matters. So to me, as long as, and we're going to go through a bunch of examples and stuff, but as long as you feel like you're doing things intentionally and thoughtfully, that to me is all that matters. It's when you're kind of going through life where you're on the hamster wheel and going through the rat race and you're just not thinking about stuff. And so what I find so interesting is just to take the time to step back and think about this stuff and make sure you feel good about what you do, especially how you're spending your money
Yeah.
and your time.
Fully agree on all of that. And I think I'm with you in that I have some pretty strong feelings about the choices that I make in my life, but they're just strong choices for me. I don't care what other people do.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But in my house, there are some, okay, not even separate from what we pay for in terms of convenience. I have a couple rules in my house, like phones are black, cars are black.
Oh.
Shoes, you can take them on or leave them off. And like what you do in your house, that's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. My phone, like the phone case. Do you care about the phone
the phone
case? Or you
case can
just
be
mean
any color you want. But do you
does this make you uncomfortable? Mine's like the blue shade or the gray. I don't even know what it
No,
is.
I think, okay, it's more from, do you remember back in the day, I think it was the iPhone 4 or maybe the 4S was the first phone you could buy, and it could be white, and it would be like white on the front.
Yeah.
And
around the
right,
edges.
exactly. And I bought that thinking it was going to be great. And then I was like, I've made a huge mistake. This looks so stupid.
Aw.
Anyway.
I mean, that's a little mistake. It's a lowercase mistake.
That's true. I know, but that was back in the day when you would only upgrade your phone. You were tied into the
phone
upgrade
was
cycle.
Years for years. Yeah.
And so I had to live with that mistake for at least a year. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry for that. That sounds like a really rough time in your life. I wish I could have been there for you as a friend. Okay. I'm not going to mock you anymore about your choices. Okay. So
I love how Maggie's like, no judgment.
No judgment, but I am going to judge Liz, and I can judge each other because we know each other well enough to give each other a hard time. We're like, 99.9, 101% joking,
right,
to be clear. So I think it's helpful before we run into our smash or pass speed review. I think it's helpful to run through what we would consider some factors to consider or some questions to ask yourself as you're thinking about if you want to pay for convenience.
Fully agree. I think let's run through this list. And your first point that you wanted to talk about, I think, is so relevant. Are you struggling with time or money at this point in your life? Because we, I think, all have phases of life where you have more time than money, and you have phases in your life where you have more money than time.
Yeah. And I mean, myself being in early retirement is a great example. I gave up a very lucrative job when I had that job for 20 years or, some version of a job for 20 years. I was struggling more for time, not money. And again, in those 20 years, it oscillated between the two with different things going on. But at this point in my life, I have more time than I do money. Now, I still have enough money generally, right? But I do have more time than money available if I had to shift that scale. And so I'm, that's just a factor. That's going to be a factor. There's a point when, if you have kids and your kids are really young and you're just trying to get by, that's when you might feel like you want to spend way more money on convenience products and convenience options in your life.
100%. Or even if throughout your career, you might have points in your career that are busier than others.
Mm-hmm. You might even have points in your day or in your week, right? This is not this doesn't necessarily mean a phase of life that lasts a long period of time. It could be, one day you're feeling really good and you're on top of things and you're able to cut the fruit yourself, because that's the example that I always go to. And then there's, a week later where you're like, my partner's in the hospital. Like, I'm going to order food and I'm going to get all the convenience stuff, right? I know you posted a lot about that recently, of just saying you were really going down like a deep convenience path.
Yeah.
Deeper than normal.
Yeah.
Right?
The last few months have definitely been a season where we pay for convenience, very much so. And I think I'm going to do an episode this week. So I joined Maggie on Inside Out Money. I also have a podcast that's called Liz Gets Loaded.
Liz Gets Loaded. I was trying to say it in sync with you.
That was really close. But I'm doing this challenge called Do Whatever You Want September.
Which, by the way, follows Get Off the Couch August, which I thought was very funny.
Get Off the Couch August is more like being mindful about how you spend your evenings. And I think Do Whatever You Want September is like, it's about getting out of the scarcity mindset and just saying screw it and just buying the thing that you want, paying for the convenience. And then at the end of the month, looking back and going, oh my gosh, you're not broke. You still have money. Your life hasn't exploded. The world didn't stop turning just because you did some things that you wanted to do. So I think I'm going to talk about that this week. And convenient food has definitely been a big
Well, this will come out after that, so you can go back and listen to that. We'll put a link in the show notes to it. Okay, so some other questions are, what is the incremental cost for that convenience?
Right.
Right. And so, what's the cost of I'm going to just keep going to food examples, right? The cost of a $6 watermelon that's uncut versus, $10 for a quarter of a watermelon that's cut up for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you don't care about $4. It's not a big deal. And you're not going to eat a whole watermelon anyways. And so, that's a good question. How much time am I saving? So similar to like, how much cost am I saving? How much time am I saving? Is it a meaningful amount of time to you? Or is it some things you can do just as quick yourself as if you were to, pay someone else to do it?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Time cost analysis. And then the thing about you, Maggie, is that I think there are just a lot of jobs that are gross or not fun that you weirdly enjoy.
Yeah. So I kind of enjoy cleaning like gunk out of the drain faucet in my kid's bathroom. It's like a love-hate thing.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
I wouldn't want someone else to do it. I just was like, this is for me to see and no one else. I do like to call the kids over and be like, look at this and look at how disgusting you are. And then I finish the job and I'm like, but yes, I enjoy a lot of these things we'll talk about. And that's a big question. Do you enjoy it or how much do you dislike it?
Right. Exactly. There are some jobs, like getting gunk out of a drain makes me want to throw up. And if it makes me want to throw up, then that's a really strong candidate for the more convenient option, paying someone else to do it, whatever it is.
Well, I was trying to think what question applies to this, but there might be something where, and I don't think we really have a question for this, but is there actually something where you don't want someone else to see something because you're like embarrassed by it? So then you're like, I have to do that myself. Because who do you even pay to, I guess you pay a plumber to come clean the junk out of your faucet and make it, flow well again. Or the drain is what I'm talking about. But I was trying to think of other examples where I'm like, you'd be embarrassed for somebody to come in and see something the way it is.
Yeah, maybe that's why you shave your own legs.
Yeah. Or you shave your own armpits, right? I guess some people get like waxed or laser or stuff like that. But I've done laser hair removal, and that was is it really expensive, but like really worth it. That's a good example. Okay, so some other questions are also like, in addition to do you enjoy it? Do you get like a sense of satisfaction from learning a new skill and DIYing it? So we actually did a podcast, an Old Friends on Fire podcast, and I'll put a link in the show notes to it about how to put a value on your time. And it was all about this, do you outsource something or do you do it yourself? And it's like a little bit different than the cost and convenience, but it was a similar topic. And I do think, we talked there about like, I get a sense of satisfaction from DIYing things and from like learning a new skill. And so I think that's something else to consider. But along with that, will it end up costing you more in the end because you don't know what you're doing, or there's like safety or legal concerns with it? So, examples are like, I'm notorious for like getting up on my roof to like fix my own roof, fix a roof leak and clean my gutters out. Greg has sort of slowly convinced me like our yard guys will like do it for an extra $30 when they're here. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like it's probably not worth me potentially falling off the roof, even though I'm very careful. It's maybe just not worth it. Like they'll do it. They're already here, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I do think that, and I think there's stuff like plumbing even where like, does it, am I going to cause a bigger problem if I like take this thing apart versus just calling a professional?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Will it cost you more in the end? Going back to you being on the roof, there are a lot of things lately too, as an elder millennial whose low back keeps reminding me that I am no longer 30 years old.
Yeah.
Is like, is it going to hurt my body to do it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great word.
Gutter
getting on my roof hurts my back a lot.
Yeah.
Actually. So that's a good example.
I actually used to really love pulling weeds in the yard because it's really satisfying and it actually works your back muscles and hamstrings in a way I would find satisfying. And now I think that I should not be doing that.
No, I think that's a good example. And again, like you're getting a side benefit. So it might be that you're getting too old to do it, or you've got aches and pains that make you not want to. I'm not saying we're getting too old, to be clear. Somebody might be getting too old, but it also might be that you actually get like a nice little workout from it. So like I just was telling you, I just washed my car and I was like, I kind of like it. It's a nice day out. It's not as hot as it normally is. When I'm doing it, I feel like I'm getting like a little bit of a just like activity, and I like being active. And so it feels kind of like win-win to me, and I was doing it with Greg. So it was kind of fun, and he was doing all the hard work, and I was just,
You were just
Um,
spraying him with the hose and enjoying the wet
random, yeah,
t-shirt.
making it look like a commercial. Well, he had his shirt off, so
Oh, even better.
no what better. Spraying him. I was just looking at him glistening through the mist of the hose.
This is,
Um,
this is listeners, by the way, the second time in a row Maggie has showed up to record with me without a shirt on.
yeah. I mean, I am wearing a sports bra that's like, pretty strong coverage, I'd
Yeah.
say. But yeah, I'm also just like dripping in sweat because I just was washing my car outside. Okay, so what other questions?
Let's see. I like this one. Are you good at it? So lawn care is a good example. They do a much better job. My house cleaners, I think, are a great example. I could spend 3 times as much time, and I just think things still wouldn't look as beautiful as when they do it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree on like the lawn care, like which we'll get to when I'm gonna smash lawn care like all day long. But not the lawn guys, but like the idea of lawn care.
Yeah.
And like we have these high hedges and like they're up on a ladder with like, power. And I'm just like, yeah, that looks like you guys look really good at that. You look like you do that a lot. And like I would fall off the ladder and like, fall off with a chainsaw in my hand. It just seems unsafe. Yeah, but on the house cleaning, on the flip side, I think I'm really good at cleaning my house. And I have like my own little kind of OCD about how I want it done and how careful I am with certain things. And it has actually made me like very anxious when someone else cleans my house. I just hear things like rattling and moving and getting banged again. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like being a little rough back there, like, and I just, it really kind of bothers me. Like it's not worth it to me. Right.
Mhm.
And that is that sort of mix of like, do you get a satisfaction? I kind of like cleaning. Right. And so I've cleaned my house. I mean, there was a time period when we had a professional cleaner, but I've cleaned my house even when I had a job. And I especially am more open to doing it now. So anyways, another question is like, is this a time-bound situational thing? And so, I gave the example of like when your partner was in the hospital recently with like back surgery and then complications from it. And you were doing a lot more like food delivery and convenience buys and like rightfully so, right?
Mhm.
And so there's times when it just makes sense and like you should, it's a lever to pull and so pull it.
Right, exactly. I mean, in my normal life, do I walk the couple blocks down to the hospital and eat something out of their vending machine? No, I do not. Although I actually did find here's a frugal tip for you. The hospital cafeteria actually pretty reasonable. If you live
Really?
close to a hospital, it might be worth it to go in and just check out. You can get a plate for like $7.
I'm in the hospital with my mom about once a month, taking her to an appointment she has to go to every month. And we were just there this past week, and we were like in a different location than we normally were, and we walked by the cafe. And she was like, "Oh, I used to eat in that cafe like all the time with your dad when he was sick in here." And she was like, "Should we go get lunch?" And I was kind of like, I was like, I mean, we could go like anywhere. Like, why would we eat here? But she was saying, I have heard the food's like not bad. So I mean, and good to know it's like reasonably priced too.
Yeah, I think they're not trying to gouge you, right? So
Yeah.
I would guess that they sell it at maybe not at cost, but like something close. There's probably a small markup. And so, anyways, if you live near a hospital,
Yeah. No,
maybe
it's
just
fine.
stroll
Okay.
on
Good to
down for
know.
a date night.
Okay. So another question. I like the like, what else could I be doing with this time? Which is different than like, do I have enough time? But
Mhm.
actually, like, what is the opportunity cost? So, there's certain times I find myself doing things and I'm like, well, I could be spending time with my kids right now. They're home. They actually are around and want to do something. And so think about that if you have, a limited amount of time with, kids or parents or family members.
I think what else could I be doing with this time is a good question to ask. And also, what else will I be doing with this time is a good question to ask. Because listen, I can tell you all day how busy I am, but was I a little bit late showing up to record this podcast because I was sitting on my phone aimlessly scrolling? Yes, I was. So sometimes it's almost, and I think you touched on this point earlier. Would my time be better spent sitting outside, washing my car, getting a little sunshine, getting a little physical activity, maybe saying hi to a neighbor that's going by, having the satisfaction of a job well done, versus taking it to the car wash place and sitting in the waiting room and scrolling on my phone for 45 minutes?
That is my favorite question because that is like super honest about, like we all think we don't have enough time and many of us don't. But we're all making choices all day long about how we spend our time, right? I enjoy watching television. If I wasn't watching my car, I would have been watching TV. I would have been sitting on the couch. My kids aren't home right now. I would have been sitting and watching television on the couch. And I'm being honest with myself, right? And so I think that's your point, Liz, which I love is not just what else could I be doing with this time, but what else would I, knowing myself, would I be doing with this time? And so, I think that's the like crux of this question around, the cost of convenience. And all these decisions we make every single day, 20 times a day, probably more, of, how we're going to spend our money and what we're going to do with our time. The more we can be honest with ourselves and thoughtful and intentional, but really honest is helpful. And, we're not always, there's no like right or wrong, but we're not always going to get it right. We're going to sometimes feel good about a decision we made and sometimes bad about a decision we made, but recognize how we felt after we made that decision and remember it next time. And, so I think we talk about it a lot, but I think just being like honest with yourself and intentional is the end goal.
Right. And it's okay. I mean, if this podcast had a theme, if you had to say it in the shortest, in the fewest words, it would be like, do what you want. Because it's okay. You want to pay someone to clean your house so you can sit on your couch for an extra 2 hours? Like, have at it if that's what's going to feel good for you. But it's all about intentional choices as always.
Yeah. And like, be honest with your financial situation when you make that choice, right? So, I mean, I would challenge people to say, if you can afford that, right? If you can't afford it, and all of the, if you can afford something is relative and subjective, but if you're in a massive amount of debt and that gives you a lot of anxiety and it's, been a struggle for your marriage or whatever it might be, like try to make more decisions that do keep more money in your pocket if you have the time, right? And challenge yourself to not go sit on the couch for an hour and instead, go do something yourself versus outsourcing it. And so, but I 100% agree of like, you do you, and this is something you have to figure out for yourself. We're here to have some thought-provoking discussions like Smash or Pass, which we're about to do. One other question though I will add, just because it's an interesting one that I sometimes do think about is there an environmental impact at all to this convenience? Because sometimes there is. Like, I like to buy, the big bags of goldfish from the store. But a lot of times lately, like, I buy the individual ones for my kids' lunches because it's just, it's not as good for the environment, but it is a convenience play and my kids can grab it on their way out. And it's faster to make lunches and, whatever. And so there is an environmental impact where you want to think about, more plastic packaging, more trash, whatever it may be, if that matters to you.
Yeah. That's been on my mind a lot lately. We've been doing a lot of food delivery and it all adds up for sure.
It does, yeah. Okay, should we do some smashing or passing?
All right.
Okay.
All right. Time for everyone's favorite part of the show.
We need like we need to like get some professionally recorded, like it's smash or pass time with Maggie and Liz.
Exactly. Smash or pass. Bum, bum, bum.
Hit it or quit it. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Uber ride sharing. Uber or Lyft ride sharing.
Lately. Oh, should we do it at the same time?
No, you could just go.
Lately, pass.
Or should we? Mine is it's situational. So if there's any drinking involved, I 100% do it. And there was a time in my life when I didn't. I was like, well, somebody should just drink a little less. And then, but now I'm like, it's just not worth it to get a DUI. It would just be terribly, for that $30 ride.
Agreed.
So
I'm with you on like I have a zero, like if I have one drink, I don't drive until I guess the next day is the rule. But lately we've just been trading off. So, someone just doesn't drink and is the designated driver to save it ends up being like $60 or more because you have to Uber there and Uber home.
Ways, yeah. I mean, it depends what it is. We don't have a lot of situations where we need to Uber, but I have been like, I would rather Uber to the airport than park at the airport. And it is usually cheaper depending on the trip. My mom used to take us, but she's not really as able to do like long drives as much. And so I'm like fine with it. We don't do it a lot, but we do it. And when we travel, like we're going somewhere around Christmas, like we won't rent a car. We'll just Uber. So, I mean, travel is different, but.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
Okay.
Up next, smash or pass on paying someone else to wash your car?
1, 2, 3, pass.
Smash. I almost said the wrong one. It was like pass.
Yeah, I know. I'm confused if it's like we are doing. I'm pro DIY car wash. I will never. I don't want to say never. I have paid for a car wash. I'm gonna say under 5 times in my entire life. Maybe under 10.
Oh my!
But definitely under the amount I can count on my hand.
Goodness. I don't mind washing the outside of my car. I actually find that kind of pleasant. But they just do such a good job on the inside of vacuuming it and getting all the little crumbs or whatever out of the center console, and
So do I.
it's so shiny. I literally, we just got our car washed, and I don't know, is it detailed? And when they do the inside?
Yeah, I guess detailed.
I don't know. It was $100 and it was so nice. We went and dropped off the car, went around the corner, got some brunch, came back, picked it up. And when you sit into it, like your whole body, your butt just like slides across the seat because it's so clean and shiny. My foot was almost slipping off the gas pedal because everything was so shiny and slick almost.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just always been I like to wash my own car, and it's even like more work it's kind of like if someone comes to clean my house, I'm not always ready on the day they want to do it. And like, I've got things in my car, I've got to move. And I'm like, I just want to do that when I want to do it and, at my own pace. And I don't, again, like back to all the things, I don't mind doing it. And yeah,
that's fair.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So smash or pass paying someone else to maintain your yard. Smash. All day long. As someone who likes to do a lot of things myself, there is something about yard maintenance, and it is not like it's like the maintenance of the tools, and it's a bunch of things. Cause it's like, I don't mind. We have an electric lawnmower, and every now and then we use it, in between services during the summer when things grow really fast. But like, I don't like edging. And I remember having an edge trimmer and the string was always broken, and like maintaining yard tools is like anxiety inducing to me. And I just really I don't mind doing certain projects in the yard, but the ongoing maintenance I love and highly value. And Greg and I once talked about like when we retire, would we take care of the yard? And like nobody really wants to do it. So we don't do it. And I thoroughly enjoy the $65 I pay I think it might be $70 every 2 weeks now. And I'm very happy to pay it.
I am fully with you. It gives me anxiety, not necessarily maintaining the tools, mostly just not knowing what I'm supposed to do. Like when you say edging, I was like, ooh, wait, am I supposed to do that? I don't know what to put down, and I don't know what to pull up, and I don't know how often. And the mental load is not something I have an appetite for.
Okay. A related one, but inside the house.
Yeah.
Smash or pass paying someone to clean your house.
1, 2, 3. Smash.
Pass. We talked about this earlier, so I won't heavily repeat myself, but why are you going to smash this one?
They're just so much better at it than I am, and I don't want to do it. It's mostly just that I don't want to do it. Actually, also, so you mentioned being ready when they come, and I actually love the forcing mechanism that they come every 2 weeks. And my house stays pretty tidy, but every 2 weeks it forces me to get the junk mail off the kitchen counter and put my shoes away and clear my makeup and my hair care products off the bathroom counter so that they can get to it and clean.
Yeah.
And it's like personal training for keeping your house tidy.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Well, I mean, I won't heavily repeat myself, but I just kind of don't mind cleaning my house.
Yeah.
And we kind of divvy up certain aspects of it. And, I do, sometimes it is, I like that they like kind of have you on a schedule. That's nice. I will say I was thinking about this earlier, if there were more things where you could easily pay somebody for one-off things, but like a lot of house cleaners, they charge a lot for like a one-off cleaning service, because I deal with that with like our rentals sometimes. And they, where you get a good price is when they come every 2 weeks because they know it's regularly cleaned and everything else. And they have a cycle and they have clients, and it's harder to find someone good and reliable that will just come the 2 times a year you randomly want to outsource, X thing. Same thing with yard surface. And I do think if there was more easily available options for just one-off things, like every now and then I'd be like, oh, I might pay someone to come clean right now just because whatever.
Yeah, maybe do it when you're going on one of your big trips and have them come while you're gone. And then you come home to like a beautiful sparkling house.
Yeah. But like that even creates like a level of anxiety for me, like having someone in my house while I'm out of town, and like just, what if they forget to turn something off? What if, I don't know,
like the vacuum, like they just leave and the vacuum's running for
water running or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's fair.
Who knows what could happen?
No judgment.
None of these things are ever going to happen. That's my point. It's just these like thoughts in my head.
This is all like meant. We like to pretend that this is about math and doing a cost time benefit analysis. And it's really just, what do you feel like doing?
It's our gut and these stories we tell ourselves and how we feel about certain things. And But you're right. If I felt the way I did about inside cleaning, about, yard maintenance, I also would have someone cleaning our house.
Yeah, exactly. It's you hit the nail on the head. It's these stories that we tell ourselves. Like I'll say, "Oh, we hire house cleaners because they do it better than I do, and we can afford it, and I'm busy." But really, it comes from I don't want to do it, and then I just come up with reasons that it makes sense to pay someone else to do it.
Yeah,
And that's okay.
That's true. Yeah, very true. Okay, a few outdoor things. Paying someone to clean your gutters. 1, 2, 3. Smash. I smashed the yard guys to do it. So to be clear,
first of all, I have no appetite to do this. Secondly, I don't want to get up on a ladder.
You have a really tall house. If I've had your house, I never would have done it myself. Mine, I can get, like, most of it's one story and I can just climb a small ladder. Yours is,
our gutters are way up there. They're high.
I would never get on your roof. I would 100%. I'd smash your roof all day long.
Even sometimes not yard guys, roof. We had to do some roof repairs, and the owner stopped by after the guy was there. He's like, "Hey, I just want to make sure everything went okay." He really did not want to get on your roof, and I was like, "He's on the roof."
That's so funny.
I'm sorry. I always set expectations when I schedule an appointment. I'm like, listen, our house is extra tall. Just be ready. Bring that extra tall ladder. But
yeah,
listen.
Right.
Okay.
On that note, roof repair. Okay. Well, you're smashing that.
I'm smashing that all day long.
On your roof. Yeah. I have gotten up on my roof and will continue to get up on my roof. And when we've had small leaks that are like around what do you call those thingies?
I don't know because I don't do that.
The holes in the roof. It's the vents to various things. Okay. And then they have the flashing around them.
Sure.
So they have other names. But anyways, sometimes it just needs some caulk.
Mm-hmm.
CAULK. That word is hard for me to say. And so every time I say it, Greg makes other jokes. And I get up there and I will just caulk the shit out of the roof. Like I just throw it everywhere. I mean, I just literally am it's going everywhere. And it works usually. So I did that a few years ago and it fixed the roof for a while. But then eventually there was another roof leak and another roof leak. And recently we called a roof company and was like, this is beyond my expertise. And then they got up there and there was a bunch of stuff, some plywood need to be replaced. We could see the leak and we were like, this is beyond me. Mm-hmm. And it's causing some wood damage to the plywood below the shingles. And so we called them and it was it felt really good to have them come and do that and check. And then my other work, they were like, actually, you did a good job. Yeah. They were like, who did these? And I was like, that was me.
That's what I was going to say. Didn't they come out and they were like, wow, whoever's been maintaining this roof has been doing an amazing job.
They specifically mentioned the little things that poke out of the top of your roof. That's not where the leak. It has a name. Someone's going to tell me. But anyways, they specifically mentioned those. The boots. They were like, those boots are in great shape. And I was like, yeah, I replaced those boots a few years ago. I put whole new boots on. I put mesh screens over them to keep the critters from crawling into them. And it was just very satisfying to have the professional roofer compliment my boot repair work. So
I like it.
Okay.
I'm proud of you.
Keep moving.
Don't get me wrong. I don't turn my nose up at that work. I would love to be a person who has the appetite and interest in doing something like that.
And who's excited, nerds out on it. I know what you mean. You nerd out on HSAs. I got you. You have your things.
I think often actually that of all of the things, because we all have different skill sets, right? Some people really know how to do some basic car repair. And some people really know how to give your dog a really good grooming at home. We all have different sort of DIY skills. And I think often that one of the best sets of skills you could probably have is actually managing your own money. And so I feel really happy that if I was going to have one, that's the one to have.
How is that not on our own list?
It is.
Oh, you just added it. I missed it. Did you just put that
I've had it earlier, but I just rephrased it
I like it.
It was clear that the question was paying someone to do these things because we keep tripping up.
Also, how is dog grooming not on our list? I've had this discussion. I don't have a dog, but I've had this discussion with friends. You groom your own dog?
We go back and forth.
That seems scary. I've just seen some pictures of people who have groomed their own dog, and it just seems you could go wrong. They have a buzz cut accidentally.
Okay,
different.
You might know this already. Maybe you don't. There's basically two different kinds of dogs. There's dogs that have fur and there's dogs that have hair. And dogs that have don't know this. You what?
I don't know this, by
Okay,
the way.
okay.
Keep going.
So I've only ever had dogs that have fur. And I think this, no offense to people who have hair dogs, I think of that as like a regular dog. And then there's dogs that have hair.
Like a poodle has hair.
Exactly. That's like a
Got it.
poodle,
Okay.
any kind of
Yeah, yeah. A
doodle.
labradoodle. Yeah.
Those are the dogs that have to go in and get a haircut because otherwise their hair will grow over their eyes. Whereas a fur dog, I mean, the worst thing that happens
don't they just need to be brushed, a fur dog?
right. Like if you just don't groom your fur dog, they get stinky. I don't think it's like it's less of a necessity. Whereas a hair dog, you either have to take them into the groomer or you have to do it on a regular basis, or they're broken. They don't work.
The hair dog is what I was referring to.
Yeah.
Because those seem stressful to cut. But I feel like if I had one, I'd try to figure it out. And I know friends who have, and like they've invested in the like equipment you need to do it right.
I think it's very analogous to human haircuts in that you could figure out how to do it at home yourself. But if you go to a professional, it's probably, they're going to do it better probably than you would at home watching a YouTube video.
I mean, there's like so many things. Now I'm like throwing new things on the list, like paying someone to cut your own hair. You know, I've cut my own hair a number of times.
I have also cut my hair. So I would say haircuts and dog grooming are in the same bucket for me, and that I will do it at home in between. Like maybe I'll go get a professional haircut once a year. Maybe I'll go take my dog to the groomer once or twice a year. And then in between, we're just doing baths at home, brushes at home. I just go out in the backyard with a pair of scissors and start lopping at the ends of my own hair.
I'm a big fan of that, like sometimes, you know, in between approach, because I do the same thing. It's like I'll cut my hair myself for a while, and then I'm like, okay, it's time for someone to like clean this up and kind of get things in a better thing. And then also, I one time did color my hair. I attempted to color my hair myself, and that did not go well. There was some orangeness happening with me. And I sort of like scared myself and was like, I will never do this again. I'm either just going to be natural or I'm going to go pay someone to do professional highlights.
I was thinking about your hair the other day. I don't know why, but it just came to my mind because I remembered that you used to highlight your hair to make it more blonde on a regular basis. And then you had decided to stop and go to a more natural or browner color. And I don't know if this is helpful information for you or not, but I actually could not remember. And I see you on a regular-ish basis. And I was trying to think to myself, wait, does Maggie color her hair to be blonder? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Well, it was blonde when I was a kid, so and like younger. So for me, it was like an identity thing of like, well, I have blonde hair. And then when it quit being blonde, I was like, well, I need to keep it blonde. And then I had one hair person tell me like, oh, you should just like you look good as a brown, like a, what do you call it? Brown-headed girl.
You look good as a brown-headed girl.
She probably used the term brunette. That sounds more natural. And, or she might've been like, you look good with brown hair. Anyways, I just like have been, kind of, this is my unnatural color right now. This is also what it looks like when I haven't washed my hair in a couple days.
Right. Even looking at you right now, wait, so do you still color your hair or no?
No, it's been a while. I mean, you can see down at the very like tips, but it's been over a year, I'd say.
I think it looks really good on you. And again, I think it's telling that I couldn't tell you right now looking at you whether you color your hair or not. It's not that dramatic of a difference, I guess.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyways.
Okay, we'll keep going. So let's move to some financial stuff.
Okay, smash or pass paying someone to do your taxes? 1, 2, 3. Pass. Oh, we have that one in common.
I mean, I smash Greg, literally. So, and he is the one that does our taxes. So I feel like there's a little loophole on this one. Like I will smash someone to do the taxes, but luckily he like is my husband and lives here. He does them.
Does he do all of it? I do ours, obviously.
He does all of it. Full service.
Yeah.
I mean, I provide him with some receipts and, documents and things, but no, he's full service accountant.
That's great. Yeah, I do ours. And this is one. Okay. We started the episode at the top saying, you do you, no judgment. Most of our feelings around this are strong feelings about our own preferences, but not strong feelings about other people's preferences. Doing your own taxes, I'm completely 100% fine if whatever choice someone else makes, if they want to pay someone to do it, if they want to do it themselves. What I get riled up about sometimes is the idea that when people say, oh, I couldn't possibly do my own taxes, because you can. Yeah. You're smarter than you think you are, and it's not as hard as you think it is.
Totally. I feel the same way of that, like, there's certain things that I'm like so passionate about where I'm like, it's not that hard. And I just think it's like, you should at least try it. We definitely did an old Friends on Fire episode about doing your own taxes. I'll put a link in the show notes to it if it's of interest to people.
Yeah, I posted something on the internet sometime recently. I remember just because I got a good amount of discussion on it. And I think what makes me a little batty sometimes is when someone will say, "Oh, I got to pay someone to do our taxes because we bought a house this year," or "I got to pay someone to do our taxes because we got married," or something.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's one button in the system of TurboTax.
Exactly.
Or what are some of the other names of tools? Who do you use?
Yeah, I use TurboTax.
Okay, yeah, we use
H&R Block or whatever, Free Tax USA, all the
there's
all the
tons of
online ones.
options
Right?
that are not very free to not very expensive.
Exactly. It's typically when you're using a tool like that, it's just 1 or 2 extra clicks. Maybe they tell you exactly what form to go look for. Hey, you should have gotten this form in the mail. Go find it, type it in, and if you have complex I mean, of course, I got people who are like, well, but I travel for work, so I work in like 17 different states every year, and I bought and sold multiple rental properties and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, that's fine. And again, you can pay someone to do your taxes. That's completely fine.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to think that taxes are so complicated or that you're not smart enough that you actually can't get it done. And to your point, Maggie, give it a go. And the easiest way to give it a go, still pay someone to do it and then just do it yourself. So go into TurboTax, H&R Block, whatever, put in all the information. And then before you get to the last button and you say submit, just see if it matches up. Just see if the numbers are the same.
Also, to me, doing your own taxes is one of those things where 75% of the work is preparing and organizing the documents, which you have to do regardless of whether you outsource it.
Exactly.
And so that's one where I'm like, you've already done most of the work. The final 25%
it's just typing.
Is inputting all that stuff, right? And that's what you're paying an accountant because they're also using a piece of software.
Yep.
Right? They also happen to like know things, but they are also putting it into a very similar piece of software as TurboTax.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Along the same lines, everyone knows our answer on this, but like, I'll just say it for fun. Paying someone to manage your investments. Smash or pass?
Pass.
Pass. We're terrible at timing this.
We're not good at
Big
this
pass.
game.
No surprise. I'm not even going to go into this one because we have entire episodes where we talk about this. But like, we don't think you need a financial planner. It's not worth the money. They're not telling you anything to do that you can't do on your own. And it's a massive cost over, the short term and long term. And you can do all of this yourself. And we'll put some links in the, share your thoughts too, but we'll put some links in the show notes too. A number of episodes where we talk about how to manage your investments on your own.
I think the point you just made about the cost ratio, I guess, is important. So if you want to pay someone else to do your taxes and you want to pay someone else $100, $500, whatever a year, cool. You do you. If you're paying someone else to manage your investments, that could cost you $1 million. So
over the course of your,
right. That's why we're so
very
passionate
about, yes. Do not you're right. We shouldn't gloss over this one, but I highly encourage you to go listen to some of our episodes, which I'll put in the show notes, about why paying someone else to manage your investments is such a bad idea and how much it's going to cost you over your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And we even give you a script for how to break up with your financial planner if you need one. So we'll go listen to that episode. It's episode 58 on Inside Out Money, but we'll put a link in the show notes to a bunch of other helpful episodes.
I like it. Preach. Okay.
Okay, we're going to do this food speed round, right?
Round. Yeah, we need another little sound effect here. Time for the speed round.
It's time. It's time for the speed round.
That was so good.
Was it? Okay.
Good. Maybe your early...
We're clearly not outsourcing our audio file.
Maybe your early retirement job could be voiceover.
Voiceover artist, yeah.
Okay. Smash or pass? Pre-cut fruit or veggies at the store?
Pass.
Smash.
Pass.
I think we all know Liz is a smash on this one. It does depend. I can cut an onion. I can cut a potato. Cutting a watermelon, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I also don't like cutting apples. And a lot of people on the internet yelled at me about that one time. And now I buy the pre-cut apples just to spite them. All right. Smash or pass? Pre-cooked, pre-peeled, hard-boiled eggs. 1, 2, 3. Smash.
Pass. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Well, also you're vegan.
But I mean, okay. I do make a lot of hard-boiled eggs for the kids. They've gone through phases where they really like them. Yeah, that's a hard pass for me. It just takes 5 minutes.
It's the peeling for me.
Yeah.
But smash or pass? Sliced or shredded cheese? 1, 2, 3.
Smash. I
Yeah.
honestly didn't even think about one. This is one where I'm just like, oh wait, I forgot you could technically shred your own cheese. There have been times when I've shredded my own cheese. Okay, I'm terrible at speed round. Let's keep going.
No, that's okay. I was curious on your thoughts on this one because, and I'm not trying to like have a gotcha moment, but I do think it's funny that your brain, and again, it's all emotions and how you grew up, and there's so many factors into it. Like pre-cut fruit, absolutely not. Pre-cut cheese, it takes just as long to slice the cheese.
Well, I don't really have the capability to slice like thin, one of my kids likes like Swiss cheese on her sandwich. I mean, to get like thinly sliced Swiss cheese, I need like one of those meat slicers,
You just need
like
one of those cheese slicers, like the little thing with a handle and a wire that goes
oh
across.
yeah, I don't want one of those.
Okay.
Which is why when I need it, buy it pre-cut.
You don't need to, I mean,
But that being said, if I needed to like make a cheese tray for something, I would normally buy a block of cheese and cut it in small pieces. I used to do that for the kids' lunch, but shredded cheese or sliced cheese for sandwiches, I definitely buy.
Shredding your own cheese. I mean, I've done it, but it's
you lose like a finger in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then you lose all the cheese too because there's a finger in the cheese.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You just wasted that food.
Okay.
Okay. Smash or pass coffee that someone else makes, or like a little coffee pod, or convenient coffee. We'll say. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Depends.
I was like, yeah, it depends. On a daily basis, I pass.
Same.
But I treat myself all the time on I say all the time, once or twice a week, I get Starbucks these days. But we like make our own Keurig pods. We don't buy Keurig pods ever.
I'm with
like
you.
The disposable.
I mean, there was a point very early in my professional career that I would go to Starbucks at almost every morning before work.
There was also for me, and I would get a croissant or like a banana bread and a coffee. And that was for like years, like when I was much younger in my 20s.
But these days, coffee at home, love it. Tastes just as good. It costs like 1/10 as much.
Smash or pass bottled water?
Pass.
Always okay, pass. When you put this in here, I was like, do you buy I mean, I know you I like some sparkling water, but I even use like the soda sense for most of my sparkling water. But so we would maybe need to do a separate sparkling water because I know you're smashing some Spindrift.
I love to smash some Spindrift, but that comes in aluminum cans.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't ever buy just bottled like water, like tap,
right.
Like
well, Spindrift doesn't come out of the faucet in my kitchen, so I have to buy it.
Exactly.
I've tried a Soda Stream and I didn't love it. But I was watching a show on Netflix last night. Have you watched Perfect Couple?
No.
It's good. It's like a juicy whodunit. And they had this whole refrigerator in the kitchen just full of bottled water. And someone came in and just pulled out a bottle of water. And I was like, you're in a kitchen. There's a glass right there. And there's a sink right there. What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm going to look at Perfect Couple. It's my priority is television.
Fine. There are people, a friend of mine was telling me about extended family who uses bottled water for everything. And I don't think it's a local water quality thing, but they'll use bottled water to make coffee. I
know people who do that too. It's very odd to me.
Even if you didn't like the water in your sink, I mean, I would have a Brita filter. This is a thing. I mean, again, to each your own. If you're listening to this and you're like, well, that is very rude. I have bottled water and I have these really good reasons why. Like, that's awesome. I love that for you.
Liz bought us peeled, pre-peeled hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, I have no room to judge. I have not. A meal has not been cooked in this house in over 2 months. So like, I'm not judging anybody. But the bottled water thing is deeply ingrained in my mind as I think the cut fruit is in Maggie's.
Yeah, well, it's back to the point of like we have such strong convictions and like we're conditioned to think a certain way. And it's so funny because it's like I don't think twice about shredded cheese, like you said, but pre-cut fruit. And I'm like, A kid's pick it up in the grocery store and I'm like, who do you think we are?
No. Like, not in my house.
Yeah. No. I literally am like offended. I'm like, but what is going on here?
Yeah.
Okay. Baking your own bread.
Ooh. Can I say I'm like you.
Yeah, I think we're both in the middle.
I will smash my bread maker in exchange for a freshly baked bread.
You own a bread maker?
No, I'm not the one.
Oh, the person making your bread. I thought you had like an electronic bread maker. It's confusing,
I do not personally bake fresh baked bread, but it is fresh baked bread is made in my house, and I will reward the bread maker with lots of extra affection.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I go in and out of sourdough making bouts, and I love making it, but it's very time intensive. And just yesterday, Greg bought a loaf of sourdough at the grocery store at Lidl. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, the kids like sourdough." And he was kind of looking at me like, "And you're not making it." And he didn't say
So
that.
rude.
He just said, "Well, the kids like sourdough." And I was like, "You're right. And I'm not making it lately." And I've let my sourdough starter die so many times that I'm embarrassed to go back to Andrew and ask for more again. And so anyways, yeah, I go both ways on that one.
Makes sense. Okay.
Next, food delivery services like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, etc. 1, 2, 3. Pass.
Mostly.
I think it's highly overpriced. It doubles the cost of the meal. And I just can't do it. I'm like, I've done it before. I'll do it every now and then, but under 10 times in the past 10 years, probably.
I am with you. It's been a little bit more over the last year. Probably it's just been a more difficult year, but in normal times, I don't do it. It's just not that good and it's not worth it.
Yeah. And then you got to wait forever. Then you're annoyed it hasn't. You're like, it was supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. And I'm like, I could have driven there and back. So, I mean, I'm not saying I get to go food, on a frequent basis, but I go pick it up myself and bring it home.
I
ask Greg too, to be clear. Okay.
All right. Smash or pass on grocery delivery services. So Instacart.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Smash.
Pass. Hard pass.
Interesting.
I like to pick out my own fruit. It's also I'm just very particular. I want to touch and pick out my own fruit.
I think you need to trust people, Maggie.
I don't though. I just been burned by bad bananas.
Yeah, but then what's the worst case? You just have bad bananas.
I know. I don't. Well, here's the thing. I have the time. I don't mind. Myself or Greg don't mind going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And we have the time to do it. And I don't always know what I want. But I mean, I can see why it's a helpful service. I know many people that do it.
It can also, in some circumstances, be an actual money saver because you have to be really mindful.
Yes.
So you throw everything in your virtual cart on the app and then you get to see the total and then you might go back and, you're not.
The impulse purchases are less.
Exactly. You're not while you're in the grocery store going, ooh, scones.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's why I do Target pick. I mean, I will do Target pickup and Sam's pickup sometimes. I do it less with food.
Yeah.
Just a normal grocery trip than I do with kind of just, I don't know, certain repeat items we need a lot of.
I'm with you. I prefer the pickup too. Because again, it's the weird thing where you have to be ready when they come to deliver it. And I would rather go there and be okay, now put it in my car. All right.
Okay, we're terrible at speed round. Okay,
this is
meal prep services
round in the world. Sorry, everyone.
Meal prep services like Green Chef, Factor, HelloFresh.
Oh, 1, 2,
3.
Smash.
You just smash a lot of things, Liz.
I do.
You get around.
I get around the convenience items.
Yeah.
We've always done in the past, we've done a few Green Chef, HelloFresh. That's where they mail you the ingredients and a recipe.
Okay.
Recently, again, we had it's been a freaking year and life got bonkers. And specifically my partner was in the hospital, came out and was very limited mobility. I'm still trying to be a caretaker, go to work, keep my own mental health in check. And so we started going to Trader Joe's and just buying all their pre-made food, like the pre-made lentil wraps and the salads and all those kinds of things. And then we decided to try the actual meal delivery services like Factor.
They're already made for you.
Cook Unity. Exactly. It's kind of like a frozen meal, except it was never frozen. You just peel the plastic off the top, throw it in the microwave, and it's ready in 2 minutes. Someone cooked it for you a few days ago and they just deliver it to your house.
How are those?
Oh my gosh, they're so good.
What company are you doing? Factor?
We were doing Factor and Cook Unity. Factor, we have different preferences. I'm mostly vegetarian. My partner is mostly vegan. The Cook Unity ones I think are better for vegans, and I think the Factor ones have more of the vegetarian options. And they're so surprisingly good. They're shockingly good. And this, again, for this season of life, it's pretty expensive. I would say it's $200 a week for 20 meals for the both of us.
Yeah.
I had a big mind shift because when I was thinking that in terms of groceries, because then we still have to go to the grocery store and buy sandwich bread and fruit and some other things. When I thought of it in terms of groceries, I thought, wow, that's very expensive for groceries. When I think of it in terms of takeout, it is extremely inexpensive takeout. It's $11 a meal, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not anti these, by the way. I just haven't ever really, I tried Green Chef when it first came out, which was a long time ago, but I can totally see the like case for it.
It's great. And especially, I actually feel like I'm eating better because I'm getting a wider variety of food, a wider variety of the veggies and produce that are in these meals. Whereas if we were just cooking at home, usually we'll make one big thing of chili or pasta or whatever and kind of eat that for a few days.
Yeah.
I can't, my life has changed. My eyes have been opened.
Yeah.
You know, it's so great to pay someone else to cook meals and then deliver them to your house. And then also, again, you don't have to do dishes. It's not the greatest environmentally, but a lot of the packaging is recyclable. So
yeah.
Oh man, smash. I'm like in a new love affair. This is like my new boyfriend.
And you're smashing them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys are all. Yeah. Okay.
Delivered meals is my new crush, my new infatuation.
I like it.
Who knows if it'll last forever? It probably won't, but we're in the honeymoon phase and I love it.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay. So there's so many other things we could do, right? Like we talked about changing our own oil. If you have like a Roomba vacuum cleaner, these like automated litter boxes, pet feeders, there's so many things. We could do this like all day long forever. It's kind of fun. So maybe you send this to a friend and then do like a smash and pass with them of like all the things that you will and won't pay for convenience on. And then like we've talked about a bunch of times, it's interesting to think like why do I not even think twice about cheese? But then I do think about fruit, right? And it's just interesting to think about it and ask yourself, why you're willing to pay for what you are and aren't willing to pay for. So
yeah, it's a lot deeper than the fruit. It's about it just has to do with your values and how you see yourself and how you identify. And there's so many things that go into it. I think it's an interesting introspective. This is really why we do the podcast. It's just free therapy for us.
Yeah, exactly. And we enjoy talking about these financial related topics because it is interesting. So we appreciate you guys listening. Liz, thanks for doing another smash and pass with me. I feel like usually we have like a lot more like equality in our smashing and passing, but on this one you smash a lot more than I do, I think.
I mean, once again, no judgment. It's 2024. My smashing my choice.
Yeah, you also it's all consensual smashing, thoughtful, intentional, consensual smashing. And you have a job. So you can smash more than I can in this category,
Yeah.
So ironically, I have way more time to smash, but what kind of smashing we're talking about.
I will be curious to see how all of this changes if and when I ever actually early retire.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's true.
Listeners, we will come back. I will report back.
I hope we are both still doing this podcast then, and so we can everybody will get those updates in real time. Okay, well,
we know your time is limited, which is why sometimes you need to pay for convenience and your time is valuable. And we appreciate you spending some of that time with us. I mean, if I had to guess, I would bet that someone's got their headphones on. They're listening to this podcast while they're mowing their lawn or they're washing their own car or they're cooking food or something. So thanks for letting us hang out with you.
Oh, that's actually a great point. A lot of the times when I am doing these things, I am multitasking. And I'm like, when I'm cleaning, I'm always listening to a podcast or book. And so it makes it like much more enjoyable. So I love that point.
Agreed.
On that point too, we always encourage you to share this episode with someone. That is like one of the most helpful things you can do for us is go share the episode with somebody else, a friend or a family member, and encourage ongoing discussions about money. Have a fun conversation about, what you are and aren't willing to pay for the sake of convenience. And you can also subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. As Liz mentioned earlier, she's also got a podcast called Liz Gets Loaded. Check it out. If you have any thoughts or questions, we always love to hear from you, and you can leave us a voicemail or text us at 404-981-3370, or you can hit us up on Instagram.
We love to hear from you always.
We do.
If you have strong opinions, I would definitely never ever do this, or I always do that, or this resonated, or this didn't resonate, or you are wrong. Those are all very welcome messages.
Yeah, we love to hear from people. Okay, we'll let y'all go. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Maggie. It was so nice to see you.
You too.
Bye.
See you soon.
We're going round and round.
And round and round. I'm going to cut out the end and we'll just sing. I'm impressed you got that in your head.
Amazing.
That's my friend's band, Clap for Daylight, by the way. So that if you like the way we sing it better, let us know. Maybe we should go record in the studio with them and redo that ending with our voices. Okay. See y'all later. Bye.
See you later. Bye.